we're going to look at how to build competence in individuals and within your organization around the idea of diversity and inclusion. We said we were going to look at awareness, building awareness, and that was our primary topic for Tuesday. We're looking at engagement, and this is really building your culture and encouraging people to participate and engage in this idea of both diversity and inclusion in a way that makes sense and makes a difference in your organization, and then taking action, of course. So we started with defining diversity. This is the part where I'm going to ask you to kind of give me some two-way here. So for each topic that I put up, just if somebody can just give me one sentence to review what we discussed on Thursday. So, and I'll put them all up, and in that way you can kind of be preparing for them. So defining diversity. What did we say on Tuesday diversity is?
Well, we said it could be many things. It could be, it's not just based on ethnicity, male, female, any of that stuff. It's actually based on what's inside a person. So, they have diverse ideas and a way of doing things. So it's different. That's kind of what we were talking about.
Yes, thank you, Al. So when we talked about defining diversity, basically it's everything. It's everything from eye color to, handedness to information processing style, conflict management style, all the personality traits, in addition to those primary dimensions, ability, race, age, gender, ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, all those things that make us up as human beings. That's all diversity. Okay, so then we talked about the business case for diversity, which for some organizations is a big deal because this is the thing that motivates companies to start taking a look at this stuff. We cheated on this one because I have in parentheses some stuff, but just one sentence. What is the business case for diversity? Why would we want to even be talking about this?
Because when you have people that come from different backgrounds, they have different ways of thinking. And so instead of having people that all think the same way, trying to solve a problem the same way or struggling with specific types of issues, you have people from all kinds of different backgrounds that can look at it from several different perspectives. And so it just increases your odds of being able to accomplish any sort of issues or, feats in the most efficient manner possible.
Wonderful. Austin, thank you. Yes. So different backgrounds, different ways of thinking, different ways of approaching problems. All those things are absolutely right. And then some organizations have other reasons for focusing on diversity. We'll take a look at our case studies for the tech industry. More than just being innovative and making more money, there are some real problems in some industries as far as needing to recruit talent. So we'll continue that discussion. All right, and then we moved on to diversity versus inclusion. We said diversity is inviting everybody to the party, but inclusion is being asked to dance. And so in your words, one sentence, what is the difference between diversity and inclusion?
Diversity is what you are and inclusion is what you do.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. Diversity is what you are. That's how your makeup within your organization or within your work group. You're saying, yeah, we are diverse. We got all the boxes checked off. Look at how many different dimensions of diversity are represented here. That's one thing. But I like how you said inclusion is what you do. And that's when we get into that engagement and that action. Inclusion is what you do. And then we started our discussion on unconscious bias. We're going to pick up right in the middle of that today. But in one sentence, what is unconscious bias?
It's kind of like having a formulated opinion before, really knowing what's going on. You've already got your own formulated opinion in your mind or body, and you're pushing that out towards other people before they get a chance to really understand what's happening in the group.
Yeah, I like how you said that. It's your own opinion. It's predetermined. It's in your mind. It's in your body. I like how you said that too. We talked about those MRI scans where even when we're not aware that we are forming judgments about people, we are. And sometimes that leads to stereotypes. Sometimes that leads to affecting our decision making. And so we will continue that conversation next. Also, we'll talk about building our cultural competence, what that might entail, and then some examples of programs or initiatives or things that you might be able to implement within your group, or at least, like we said, to be able to start some conversations about. So let's pick up with unconscious bias. And in order to understand this next topic, we really have to get the idea of things happening unconsciously, things happening in the background, just kind of running in our brains without us really knowing. Because in order for us to understand what I'm going to put up here next, these terms, and you tell me if you've heard of these before: microaggressions, micro indignities, micro inequities. You have an idea. If you haven't heard of these words, you have an idea of what they mean. Just if you just put the structure of the word together. So it's subtle ways in which people are singled out, overlooked, ignored, or just otherwise discounted based on some characteristic. And again, this flows from people's unconscious bias, such as race or gender or disability, or we can go on and on down that list. And so I'm going to give a couple of examples of this. And like we said, we have to understand that things happen unconsciously sometimes. So some examples that I give are: have you ever been in a meeting? You may or may not have. Have you ever been in a meeting and you came up with a great idea in the meeting, which got ignored or downplayed until someone else who was in that meeting came up with basically the same idea, and all of a sudden they were praised for having the best idea in the room? Has that ever happened?
Yes.
Yes. I don't know who said yes, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
And for some of you, maybe that has happened and maybe that hasn't. And so it's that kind of feeling. And when we talk about microaggressions or micro inequities, micro indignities, it's so subtle sometimes that you can't even explain it. And if you did, people would probably brush it off as not that big of a deal. So for example, let's go back to that same meeting. Maybe in that meeting, the person who was leading the meeting was engaging just one person more than anybody else, or making eye contact with everybody in the meeting except for you. Things like that. But you can't go to, for example, your HR professional or your superior and say, you know, I just want to say that there's something fishy going on because this person didn't look at me. You know, you can't, it doesn't make a lot of sense to just say this person didn't look at me. But it's enough for you to go, wait a second. When it happens, it's enough for you to go, wait a second. Was that intentional? I don't know if it was. Should I even be offended by that? So I'll give you a couple of